Okay, here we go. And good morning, everyone. A bit later than billed this, and a little bit shorter than because of the late billing. So we'll go straight into it. If you like what we're doing, please click on the subscribe button, click on that little bell, and select all, so you get notified of everything that we put up on the on YouTube. And watch till the end and like it. There you go. There's enough instructions to be getting on with there. Right. Hello, Desi.
Hi, Chris. Good morning to everyone, and good morning to you.
Yeah,
We
morning.
we missed yesterday because I wasn't very well, so today we're into it again. So
So, yeah, welcome back from your trials and tribulations. Today, the topic is question everything. And like when I mention this to people, they say, "Oh, you're some kind of conspiracy theorist. You don't want to question everything that's put out there, and you're basically like against anybody and anything that people say, and not and doing it." So you basically, when you start to question things, you start to be labelled a conspiracy theorist. Or a conspiracy factualist, depending on which way you look at it. So, and and it's not really an objective way of looking at the idea of question everything, because it has much deeper connotations than just questioning what the media are putting out there or what's on the news. Question everything is a life choice. Right? It's really to support you experiencing what's going on in your life directly. And the first thing we've got here is experience, like perceptions. And like if someone says to you, like, "Oh, I wouldn't go there because it's awful," right? And you say, "Oh, okay,
oh, I haven't.
then I'm not going to go there because I've
Mm.
heard it's awful," right? Then essentially what you're doing is you're saying, "I hold the person that's given me this in such high self-esteem that I'm going to do what they say," right? And it's like that's an incredibly powerful position you put other people in if you take their word for it. But I mean, a very simple example I was giving you before is that some people in, like the newspaper of Watford, the Watford Observer, was reporting how the police were down in the Watford town again because some violence or some problem broke out, and they were reporting how, yeah, Watford's become like a war zone, and they've got interviews with different people supporting that opinion. And yeah, I'd been down there for like in the evenings at weekends and Wednesdays and whatnot, for like 5 years and never had a scrap of trouble. Right? So if you'd asked me, which they didn't because I didn't support their theory, if you'd asked me what's Watford like, I'd say, "Oh, it's great fun. I have a real laugh down there." Yeah, if you want trouble, you can always find it. But if you go down there expecting a nice evening, that's what you're going to get. Very rarely do you,
It's like
do
the
you
law of attraction, isn't it?
almost like, but it can be on anything. Like people, if you, and this is a bit spiritual, bit, but all the information we have in our minds and our and all the stuff we've got stored there comes from other people, doesn't it? It comes from school, it comes from parents, it comes from siblings, it comes from friends, it comes from the authorities. It's
Mhm.
all just loaded in there from other people, and what you choose to retain of it comes down to your belief in what's being said or personal experience. And I'm a firm believer in that if you've never done it, you don't know. You just don't know, do you? Until you've done it, you just don't know.
But something about our human nature is that we want to learn from other people's. We have this. Children have it at a very young age. They learn from other people's experience. Like from, for example, they learn from the adult who's looking after them. So if the adult is scared of dogs, and when big dog, well, whatever size dog, comes running to the kid, and the adult is petrified, they grab the kid and they react in such a way that the kid now gets scared.
Yeah,
Then
true.
they're gonna be carrying on with this
But that
all
has,
their life, thinking this thing dogs is very dangerous. But if you had another parent in another situation where the parent adores dogs and thinks all dogs are fluffy and amazing and loyal and whatever, and they let the kid, that there is no this, the child doesn't experience this this terror, they will grow up to love these kind of things. Like dogs are amazing. They will love to be around them. They'll put their hand in the dog's mouth even, and that's how we get these experiences. But
yeah,
then,
but
if that's scaring you when you're an adult and you see a little dog, a little puppy running, and you're scared, maybe this is the time to question it. Why?
no, I mean, the thing is that the child can grow up, yes, being inheriting some fear of dogs, right? That's exactly why we should be questioning things.
Yes.
Exactly why we should be questioning everything. And we have like things that we do that we just picked up from our parents. Um, like worry, like stuff like this. And unless you go back and revisit these things and say, why am I just doing this by rote because I
Hmm.
earned it? Why don't I now start to live rather than report on, i.e., just carry on the story? And this is a really important thing. It really is. And like I know that because you know people, don't you? "Oh, why do you do that?" And they go, "Oh, I'm not quite sure, really." Right?
Well, well, some people don't even notice that they're doing this.
I know that's what I'm saying. And then when you
Yeah.
ask a question, they go, "Hang on a minute, yeah, that's a good question." Yeah, like I mean, I'm not going to go into details, but it happened last night, didn't it? I mean, oh, that's a good question. It's like it's almost like you're on autopilot and you don't even know why. So
Yeah.
I think experiencing things like it might be some of the same as going on a plane. Oh, my uncle, didn't go on a plane for years and years. He just had this phobia, so they always went to Italy on holiday, and it took them like a day to get there and a day to get back, or a bit more. And it's like, well, hang on, you've got 14 days. 3.5 of those days are travelling, for God's sake. Like, why don't you just kill? Oh, I'm not going in the air. Oh, no, no, no. Well, no, there's nobody crashing. There's nobody dying. What's the problem? And when he started going by plane, he said, "This is much better, isn't it? I haven't got all the faffle of getting on a bus and all the discomfort. It takes you a day to get over it and a day to prepare for it. And by just getting on a plane 3 hours, 2.5 hours, you're there. It's like, oh, it's like
Yeah, well, he had to question his
exactly.
like
That,
irrational fears.
that didn't
Mm.
happen to me. It was like 50 something. Yeah. So yeah,
So that's the one experience,
yeah.
and checking and not really taking other people's experience as the gospel and go with that, but
I
question
mean,
it. Have
maybe,
your own experience.
yeah, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But like, the thing is to ask yourself: Am I just going along with this because I'm lazy or I'm fearful? And these are
Hmm.
all things, like it may be that the questioning what someone else has told you may save you a lot of time and energy and might be beneficial, and that's true. But if
Yes.
you don't ask the question, you don't even know that, do you?
Hmm.
So anyway,
Right. So then this takes us to the more sinister kind of situation where somebody does something to lead you on or to manipulate or control or to generate a certain outcome that they want.
yeah, this is more difficult to
So
because
this one where this is more like the conspiracy theory we're going into here.
well, I'm not even sure it's that, to be honest with you. Like very often, people it happens all the time in business, right? Like someone's the boss of somebody else, right? They have an objective, they want promotion, so they know what their boss wants, and they then
Mm.
direct their subordinates, if you like, to do something which creates an outcome that's makes them in a good light, and then they get their promotion. Bugger the others; they're not interested in
Yeah.
coming in. Like,
Manipulation
yeah.
in a
So,
way.
and this happens all the time. Like people will say, very often parents or like, what you want to be doing is this, right? Because for them, it's like that's what they did. That it means they're not going to get angry because someone's doing something they don't want them to do, right? And it happens all the time in families, all the time. But also in authoritarian situations where there's a directive like the pandemic, stay at home. Why? Well, because they're not going to get they're not going to get the people in charge and aren't going to face, like, if all the countries are saying lockdown and one country says, oh no, we're not locking down, we're not following, we're not going to follow the others, we don't think it's such a big problem, we're not going to lock down, and there's something like the economy collapses. Let's just be honest, the economy could have collapsed anyway. And but there's some big problem, like loads of people are reporting deaths because someone's benefiting from reporting that there's a load of deaths, and there isn't a load of deaths, they're just making it up to force an agenda, maybe a regime change, or the person who's in charge getting the sack or moving on. So there's all these motives, and it's really difficult because every single person, generally, now I'm talking generalistic here, if you ask, why is the person asking me specifically to do this thing? What? What's the reason? You can ask them if you want. They probably won't
Why
get.
why don't they ask someone else? But they're
Yeah,
asking me in particular.
yeah,
What is it about me that they have chosen me for this?
yeah. And am I literally not? Am I just being hoodwinked into doing it, or is there a value attached to it? Because quite often, if someone's been asked to do something, it's because only they can do it, and actually that has a value attached to it
Yeah.
that's not being disclosed. If I'll see if I can get away with it and get them to do it without me having to pay them anything, or not having to give them the credit, or not having to do this. So take all the glory and all the pain is with the person who's been asked to do it, and they're just doing it because they feel guilty for something. The other person's playing on the idea that you're feeling guilty, or you never help. Oh, well, hang on. Well, that's not true, is it? That's the first thing to question. Never help? What are you talking about? Last week I did this, and this. Oh, yeah, but they were just small things. Like if you did this, I'd be really pleased. Like,
Yeah. So
really,
that's what narcissists are very good at,
yeah.
weaving little webs around people
And that
and
happens without.
capturing them in these like
And the,
strings.
and the point is, unless we question it, and when we question this, we have to realise that we do have a value, and this is the self-love, self-belief issue. If you're like already in crushed mode, it doesn't take much to crush you even more without you really knowing, because you're already like feeling desperate.
Yeah.
To have this person's gratitude is worth a lot because you don't often experience it. So you end up following on and doing these things and being trod all over without, almost like that's what I deserve because I'm rubbish. I
But
deserve it.
that takes us nicely to the third element, which is the self-awareness.
Yeah, well, because like if you're not questioning why you're just rolling over, or you're not questioning anything that takes place here, then you're just like you're just
Bumbling
being
along.
pushed around. You're just being
Hmm.
it's a, that like, and I'm not saying you need to get the ego up and everything else. It's just you need to. I think people need to question, and it might be they think, like that's just the way the other person is, and until they do the work on themselves, that's just going to be it. You have a choice then. You either stay around and just facilitate a smooth thing, or you decide no, actually, I don't want to be around people like this. So I'm going to exit stage left and go and beat some people more like me, and I don't have to tolerate this behaviour. So yeah, like you've either got to tolerate it, change it, or go somewhere where it doesn't exist. There's not really many other options, is there?
Yeah, and it all comes from self-awareness. Why am I triggered by this and this, or why am I being treated like that?
Yeah,
It might not be even the other person's fault. It might be just the perception that we have. Like in my case, if I get triggered by something, it's not that they did something wrong, or sometimes I can just even watch something in a movie or something, and it will trigger an emotion, and then I need to stop and think, what's going on here? Why am I triggered?
Well, like, to, we're not in isolation, are we? We're not. We're all trying to get along in a big mass of like people and stuff, right? And it's like if you're questioning yourself, and now you're questioning what other people are doing. You're questioning, and this is why question everything is so appropriate, right? It might be that the person that's asking you to do something, they've always asked you to do things, and they don't think there's no change for them. They're just always doing it and always taking they're always, if you like, exploiting this person. And like, well, just carry on exploiting. In fact, what we'll do is we'll turn up the volume a little
The
bit,
exploitation volume, yeah.
and we'll exploit even more until it breaks. Because hang on, this is good for me. I'm not having to do very much, and I'm getting everything I want. I just keep turning it up until someone says, hang on a minute.
Until we reach the boundary, yeah. There's the border. We stop there. Okay, okay.
The boundary's been moved on several times already. Like whatever. And like they don't know they're doing it. Maybe they're not self-aware, so they're not even sure what they're doing, right? So when we start questioning everything, we make other people start to question things, and you create this whole society which is questioning everything and trying to do the best for everybody, which is a kind of society we like to be living in. But while you've got people who are basically trying to control, trying to stop you doing things because they're frightened that if you do it, you're going to move on and do something else. Like that can be true too, can't it? Oh, like take my son for example, just about to go on this journey around the country in a van that they're going to customize to support that kind of activity. Well, what's the impact of that? Well, he's gone, not dead. He's just gone, right? So anybody that relied on him being around and enjoyed that is going to have a change forced on them, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they might say, do you know what? I don't like that idea. Oh, you don't want to do that. You're going to find it difficult. You're going to do all this stuff. And I think, well, I'm going to do it anyway. It's like, well, actually, good luck to them. Do what you like. It's your life. But all the people that were affected by it will come up with things. They've not got any experience. They've never been in a van and driven around the country, including me. Never done it. Like, how do I know? All I can do is imagine the problems that might happen. And
So that takes us to number one again.
It takes us back to number one. Because I've got an agenda, haven't I? I don't want the person going away. So basically stay here because that's comfortable. But if you go away, guess what? You might really love it and never come back. Right, so you look at the outcomes. So we're doing this all the time until we say to ourselves, "What's this triggering here? Why am I coming up with problems? Why can't I just go, brilliant? That sounds really like a load of fun. Like if they experience problems, that's for them, isn't it, to deal with? It doesn't involve me. Well, it's broken down.
It's just we have as mums. And I think this might be an excuse I'm coming up with now, and I'm aware of it, so I'm questioning it. As mums, we tend to be very strongly connected to our children. And when they're growing up, it's very difficult to let go and say, okay, you are now an adult. And when is it that they become an adult? That's another question. You are now an adult, and I am not going to be interfering in your decisions because this is your life. Like if I wouldn't like to be told what to do myself, then I shouldn't be doing that to others. Do unto others like you want to be done unto you, says someone who's quite famous. And so where do we, as mums, it's very difficult to let go of this need to making sure that the children don't have accidents, they're all right, they're feeling good, they are protected. And when do we stop doing that?
As
How
soon as
old should
as
they
soon as
be
you, as
before we
soon as,
do that? Maybe we shouldn't be doing that a lot, even when they're younger,
well,
because
look,
we can't stop. We
look,
get we get in the habit.
at the end of the day, they get up and they try walking, they fall over. You don't go, oh, hang on, no, don't do that anymore. We'll just lay down, right, and we'll cart you about, right? Like, can you imagine? Like, oh, God, yeah. Talk about broad shoulders. You got two kids hanging around on top of your shoulders because you never bothered to allow them to try walking, which is dangerous when they start because they could fall over and hit their head on a coffee table or something.
Yeah, but
Instead,
then there is the excuse, oh no, 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 they're all right. When they're babies, they can fall over as much as they like because they never get hurt because they fall from on a small height.
yeah, but they can
from,
still fall
from
over.
from lower down they fall down.
They can still fall over and hit their head on a coffee table or something. But what happens is you make the environment better so that they're safer. You don't go around trying to say stop walking. Like like Otis, going away now. It's like at the end of the day, like he has to learn from what he's decided to do, right? And positive and negative. At the end of the day, both those things come in the same box, and you learn from the mistakes and you enjoy the experiences, and it's like that. That's what everybody's life is about, isn't it? And if we
Yeah.
start to, even our kids, if we start to control and manipulate, what we're doing is helping them have a have a curtailed life, not the full Monty. And it's like we've got to let them have the full Monty because we've got the full Monty. We've had the full Monty. Why
Or
can't they
maybe
have?
we didn't, and that's why we're not letting them have it.
Well, I think I had the full Monty. Yeah, my parents used to say stuff, and I used to say, "Well, is that right for me, or is that just right for them at their
Yeah,
age?"
my case was different. They said don't do it, I didn't do it.
Well, I questioned everything. My view, my view was, they should say, don't slide on that ice there because you might fall over. They've got no balance. I'm brilliant. And off I went and I fell over and it's like, okay, I hurt my knee. Yeah, told you we're going to hurt your knee. Then they tell me something else and I would do it and I'd go, there, told you so. I didn't hurt myself, did I? Because I challenged everything. It's like, don't tell me without me knowing, and then like, oh, I've cut my hand here, or I've done this, I've done that. Maybe I've got to improve my, my glove situation, or I've
So
got to.
it wasn't that, oh yeah, they told me that I should listen to them again because they know better. It was, oh, no, 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 I need to improve myself better next time. So
Yeah,
it's nothing to do with listening and following. But in my case, it was this compliance. Yeah, I did that.
yeah. So,
And I
so
became very good at the complying until at one point I really forgot who I was.
and that's the point, isn't it? You don't have a full life. You have a manipulated life, and it's like we all deserve the full life here. It's like if we're running our lives on basis of what other people have done, we never really experience it. Good and bad,
Absolutely.
like good and bad.
Absolutely.
I've
Yeah, absolutely.
had it. I've had experiences. My parents, they're not here anymore, but my parents never had, and they didn't turn around and and like fall out of love with me as a. It's like, no, they said, well, we don't really know, but we told you that was going to happen, blah blah blah, and you get all that, and you just wash over all that, get over all that nonsense because that's just ego and pride and stuff, and then you get down to the basics, which is they were there for me when the problems happened. They supported me to get out of those problems. This is what a parent is. It's not there to tell you what to do. It's there to help you recover
Yeah.
and then go again.
Oh, yeah. So, do you guys question even do you even consider the idea of questioning other people? Because that might be new to you as well.
You've got to question everything.
For me, it's a very recent thing. Like from say from the last 6 7 years, out of a 50-year life, that's what one, not even 1/5. Or maybe it is 1/5. So yeah, this is a good one. Question everything.
Okay, well that's it. Like, if you've enjoyed this, check out some of the other videos that are in the YouTube channel, and if you like what you've done, subscribe, like it, click on the bell, follow, all get notified, and
And share it.
then you won't miss out. That's right, and tell other people.
Tell
So,
other people how interesting these topics are that we're talking about here.
so
Right.
that's it, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.